Today's guest first gained her fitness qualifications in 2010, starting out in a college gym and teaching classes in 2011. Active fundraiser who's raised untold thousands for charities. She's been a Miss England in 2015, Miss Shropshire International in 2017, 18 and 19. She also competed in World Top Model UK, all alongside her passion of being a fitness presenter next to the likes of Chico Slamani or Mr. Mo. She's currently smashing the online class scene, and there are another 50 things that we could have mentioned and will no doubt delve into. Here is Miss Lish Crutchley. We did it. How are you?
Hey, you all right?
Okay.
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
All right. We was just saying,
well.
just saying before we started, weren't we, that it's an early one for us too.
It is. I agree, because obviously with lockdown, the whole routine has changed. So it's all different. So this is quite early. I agree.
At least we're here though. We're awake. We're up. We're alive.
I like the way Dan works with it, to be fair, because he's like, we'll do it early, get it out of the way. You've got the rest of the day to yourself. So when I'm dragging myself out of bed, I kind of hate him for it. But then after it's done, it's usually the most productive time. And then after it's done, you're like, you know what? That's good. And I've got the rest of the day to myself. So
the best thing is you're making it sound like we're doing it at 6 a.m. in the morning or something. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Absolutely mad.
It's actually 7:30.
Yeah, Emma Dale's just finished. But no, yeah, thanks for jumping on, Lish. It's great to have you on. As we said in the intro, like there's so much stuff that you've done, and that pre-podcast stuff you sent over, there's so much stuff in there, so it'd be good to just delve into really and find out a little bit about your journey, how you got started, because I know your story was very interesting, wasn't it, as to what triggered you to come into the industry. So yeah, over to you, mate. What set it all off, really? Go for it.
I'm trying to just backtrack now. So when I was about 14, I just latched onto fitness because I realised the power of it so young. I was quite lucky, really, because I grew up watching my mom teach fitness classes and things like that. But I never really understood the power of it until I got to about 14, 15. I latched onto it so early because, like everyone, we all have stuff going on and we're all going through something at some point in our life. And back then, when I was about 14, 15, I was in a bit of a dark place. And then my nan gave me this video. It wasn't a DVD or a little tiny device thing. It was a video. You know, there's like brick videos.
We'll probably have to explain that just in case you've got anyone who was born after like 2000 or something, wouldn't they? Because they won't even know what they are. It's funny, I was saying this the other day to my nan actually about Olivia. She probably won't have a clue what DVDs are, never mind videos.
Of course, yeah, because it's all like Netflix and YouTube and everything. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So VHS, for anyone listening, VHS was what was before DVDs. You had to self-rewind it and everything. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? But fair play.
It was like a cassette that was the size.
Yeah.
It was a quick cassette that was the size of an actual iPod. And you put it into a machine, press play, it made loads of noise, and then you watch a movie or watch whatever it was you was watching.
Yeah, you'd have to put the volume on about 100 just so you could hear over the top.
Yeah.
Of the video.
And you couldn't freeze frame and you couldn't pause because everything would jump about and judder and stuff. So that's what she's talking about, that big box thing.
I've never heard it described like that before, and I'm thinking, wow.
That's bad, isn't it?
So my nan gave me one of those, and it was an exercise DVD. No, it wasn't. It was an exercise video. So I put that on, and this man came on with crazy energy and bright colours, and I was literally doing the exercise, and I just remember laughing like for the majority of it, and I was sweating, I was having fun, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. So it took fitness to a whole new level for me. And I just remember, it's so crazy what you can remember, because I remember doing this, getting into a routine, and I remember doing it quite late. And my mum and dad had gone out. I was at home with my brothers, and they came back. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like 12 o'clock at night. And I was just there, you know, squatting away, like, and they walked in. I was like, I want to do that. And it was almost like a feeling where you just know instantly. And I'd never really known what I wanted to do. I kind of flitted between wanting to do loads of random things, which we'll go into a bit later. I just thought I want to do that. So I'm trying to remember now. It was really weird, the time frame, because not long after that, Mr. Motivator, who I was watching, he came back on TV. It was GMTV at the time, in 2009. And I was like, oh, that's the guy, he's back on TV, he's doing this. And I was like, wow, I want to do this. So I was like looking through the GMTV website, looking for emails. I was constantly emailing them, pestering them. Like, can I have some advice? And then you kind of don't hear back. And I was like, I'm going to keep going. So I was pestering away, sending emails, blah, blah, blah. And then a lady had attached my email and put Mr. Motivator in it and sent it to him. And I was like, oh, I've got a response, because I just wanted a little bit of guidance and advice. And then I didn't hear anything. And then it was about 6 weeks later, I was on the laptop and it popped up at the side, you have received mail from Derek Evans. And I was like, and then I looked on it and he sent me like this, so much advice. And then I basically pestered him for about 10 years, something like that. He was just getting emails off me constantly. And then it just kind of took me down this amazing journey. So from school, I went on to do sports studies, and I did my ETM, so my exercise to music, on the side of my sports, finished ETM, and then I did my gym. Gosh, it's because I sent so much stuff over, I'm trying to remember the order of everything. It's just been so crazy over the past 10 years. I feel like I need to let you guys talk right now.
No,
it's fine.
What I was going to think. I was thinking.
I'm glad you know he's like, when you said Derek Evans, I was like, who the fuck's Derek Evans? But I'm glad you said Mr. Motivator, because I never would have gone.
Clever, because I kind of got it straight away.
No, I worked it out, but I was like, I've never heard the guy's actual name, so that's mad. That fair play.
It took me a while to get used to it myself.
Yeah.
So
do you know,
call him
from
Derek?
that point, I think one thing that jumps out at me is the persistence. Like, it's a passion that you had, that is something that you really wanted to do, and because a lot of people, and I'm talking, 90% of human beings would send one email, get nothing back, and that's it. And now they've been working in wherever they're working, but not happy. Like, the persistence to have, and that just shows the determination that you had at that time to just keep going until somebody answers. Do you know what I mean?
I did,
It's like knocking on those doors and just keep knocking and keep knocking. If you don't keep knocking, then nobody's gonna open and answer the question, and help you out. I think another thing that was good that I liked was he's got in touch with you, and from that point, he's give you all that information and all that support. What happens then? When did it go from there to teaching your first class?
So I first met him. So we'd been in touch for a few years. So I would have been, it was just before I turned 18, because I remember meeting him for the first time and saying, I've got my class next week. So I was 17. Yeah, I was 17 years old. And I did my first class in the community. I'm going through all these emotions at the minute. Like, oh, wow, I remember how I felt at that time. It was just
I was going to ask. That's exactly what I was going to ask. And then you walk in front. How many people was there? What was you thinking when you was about to teach that first class? What was it like?
I remember walking, just before going into my first class, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, as soon as I teach this class, I will actually be a fitness instructor. I will actually be one. And because I was so nervous at school. I was never in school. That's a whole other story, to be honest. I think my attendance was half of what it should be. It was like 50 something. So I was put in a learning development unit for that because my attendance was so bad. I was never in school. Anyway, that's diverting on to something else. So yeah, I remember going in and I wanted to teach in front of people, but like I said, when I was at school, I was so nervous. The thought of getting up in front of people terrified me. It absolutely scared me. I was the person, if you spoke to me at school, I would always go bright red. So I was just like, as soon as I do this, it's such an achievement for me. Anyway, I walked into my class and I was like, la, 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 looking at the floor, not really talking or anything. And I just was like, hi, I'm Alicia. I was Alicia then. Well, no, I'm still Alicia now, but I go by Lish.
You sound like Prince, the artist formerly known as Alicia.
But I go by Lish, so, short for Alicia. I don't know why I had to add that in there.
Because that's part of the memory, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I walked in, I just remember looking at the floor, and I put the music on, was teaching away, and I didn't really say much. I would still be looking at the floor, but still, looking up, smiling and having a good time. And then I got about halfway through and I was really getting into it. And again, I wasn't really speaking much because my first class I taught was Zumba. So with ETM, obviously exercise to music, you learn to instruct, you go through everything. But with Zumba, you don't have to speak. It's all like, visual, get this way, whoop, whoop. But I would never do any of the whoop, whoop, oogie, 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 like I do now. And I remember walking out of there having the most incredible feeling of seeing people smiling. That hit me so much. And I was like, wow, this is so powerful. I just remember being so excited about my next class. But it's weird to see now how different I am now. Because if you speak to anyone that came to my first classes in the first few months, they'll say like, she was smiling, but she looked at the floor the majority of the time, because they always tell me, they were like, you're so different now. And it just shows how you just grow into what you're doing,
I think so. Those classes then really, I suppose, gave you a platform to almost find yourself in a way, would you say?
Yeah, massively. And this is where charity comes into it, because I loved the idea of raising money for someone or a charity, because we can do it. We have the ability to do amazing things. And I was like, right, my two passions are that and fitness. How can I bring those two things together? And then that just took me down a whole new path of organising fitness parties, which was just amazing. So I really found myself starting out in fitness because it took me down that path as well.
Yeah. Do you know, my experience of teaching my first class was way different than what yours was. I mean, I remember, I think I've said this on once before, but I remember, because I really enjoyed doing Group X, even though I'm fully invested and involved in PT world. When I first got into the industry, I was a gym instructor like yourself. And then I enjoyed doing classes, but I remember that I passed my spin qualification on the Monday morning to Monday afternoon. I went straight back to the gym, and the manager's gone, "You're teaching at 5 p.m. tonight."
Oh my gosh!
35 people, but you know what it's like. After you finish the course, they'll say, "Right, get your music, prepare all your music, get it right. Make sure you've got it all down, got your exercises right, know how to deliver it." Up until that point, don't go and deliver a class. So I've walked out. Give the gym manager at the time the certificate and said, "There you go, I've passed." He was like, "Good, because you've got 35 people upstairs at 5 p.m.
35 first class.
Don't go and teach it with those people." So, and I said, "I've got no music." So again, this is probably another one where we was talking about videos. So they give me a CD. And it was an old one, like Now Dance, I don't know, 32 or whatever it was, 52, and he's like, "Use that." So I've gone up. I didn't know what any of the music was. I've walked in exactly the same as you, head to the floor, introduced myself, put the song on, press play. And I think it was terrible. It was terrible. Nothing like the experience we had after that.
Completely winged it.
Yeah. But I had to. And then at the end, I asked for feedback. I said, if you could, anybody just give me some feedback on how the class went. And about 5 or 6 people stayed behind after the class, pulled me to one side and told me to watch an instructor that does the Saturdays called Stacey. Go and watch her and take notes. And that was my experience of teaching the class. So to hear somebody's experience be way better than what mine was, it's good. And I think that what I did from that, I did go and watch other people and how they did it. And it's interesting because the people that they are in the class isn't the same as the person they are on the street or knocking around. Like, it's like me, like I would go out with my friends. You wouldn't see me life and soul dancing around, but when I'm in a class, I become a character because I have to give everything and I think it's hard, or you find your character, but it takes time. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember the time when you got to that point where you was like, this is the personality that I need to be for these members?
Yeah, that's so good that you brought that up, because straight away the thing I think about is my weird hats that I wear. You know, I never wore those in the beginning, and that only came about because one of my friends was doing like a raffle, and this fluffy hat was one of the prizes, and it was literally at the bottom of her box, and she got all these prizes out, and I just saw this fluffy hat in there, and I was like, are you not gonna get rid of that? And she was like, she was, I don't think anyone will really want it. I was like, so she gave it to me, and it was this like wacky, I've got it somewhere. And I just remember wearing it all the time, even when I wasn't teaching. And then when I started teaching, I was like, I'm gonna wear it. And I taught my first class in it, and everyone was just laughing. Like, and I just was like, wow, I love this. And I didn't feel uncomfortable in it. That was the crazy thing. Like, my family were like, what are you wearing? Like, even my nan today still says, Lish, what have you actually got on? I'm like, but I don't care, I like it. So I started to find my character with all these crazy fluffy hats. And it just brought out so much in my classes. It was weird.
Yeah, I remember like talking of bright colours. I remember the absolute agony you felt when we were going through Pure Gym uniform, and you were like, "Oh my God, it's all black. Everything is black." Just heartbreak. Literally anything to just mate. The Illumina socks that used to come in were unreal. Like, just bright socks. Anything to get a bit of colour in, wasn't it, Lish?
Yeah, all the time. Or trainers that lit up, you know. Yeah. But I remember that well, because when you did the interview, I remember thinking after, you know, what colour is the uniform and stuff. And obviously, nobody told me. It wasn't till, you know, I'd got the job, and someone said it was black, and I was like, it's a good job you didn't tell me that in the interview, because I would have felt like I'm not sure about this.
Well, we just thought you were a spy in that interview anyway, mate. But mate, literally, because she'd been involved with like a couple of other gyms and stuff. We just thought she was coming to spy on us. Literally sat in the interview and was like, right, what is she trying to get out of us here? But it's mad, because if you've ever met Lish, like, it's the furthest away from the truth you'll ever get. Like, she's just mad. So funny to think now. And I just
genuinely really wanted to work at Pure, like.
That was funny. It was good. So yeah, I think one of the things, just putting out from Martin then, for a lot of new people coming into the industry, or new instructors coming into the industry, or even in the past, like, that experience has probably ruined a lot of instructors, and it might, like, getting them chucked in the deep end or whatever, because I suppose most PTs anyway, from a PT point of view, I think it's a little bit different for yourself, Lish, but most PTs, they don't necessarily look at delivering classes or how they can deliver classes. And I think one of the good things that you've touched on there is like that anxiety that you felt at the start, that sort of introversion and being embarrassed, and
it was
like
awful.
with not being able to have conversations and stuff with people because you didn't maybe feel comfortable. But then, like, you use that as a platform to go and tip it on its head, and it's brought you all of this confidence, and you're now able to, you know, walk across catwalks and stand in front of audiences and all of that sort of stuff. So I think that's for anyone listening that is sitting there feeling ridiculously anxious or nervous or scared of going into a class. I think that's unreal to take away that actually you can do that, and use that as a positive way, really. So yeah, moving into your classes there, what do you think sort of triggered that change? What made you go, right, now, was it the hats, or was it anything else that made you think, oh, I can now be more out there, I can now be more myself, I can now present a little bit more?
I think it's because even today, like I get really nervous, and people are like, oh, you're so confident in this and that, and that's when I turn the music on, you know, and I just go and I see people moving and grooving and whichever. But I definitely think, obviously, what you're wearing does. I know this sounds really odd, but I know that as soon as I put my hat on, I was like, right, I'm going to go into character mode. And this is what you were saying, Martin, about having a character when you go in. So I know that they helped. You're looking at me like, what?
No. Would you say like experience as well? Do you think maybe sort of the more you got comfortable with it, or was there anything else that sort of made you think, right, I nearly swore then, and I know you don't like swearing, but like, forget everything else. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to be me, and I'm just going to try and entertain people and have a good time.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. The more you do it, obviously, the more you get used to it. Whereas with me, that is true, half true, but I always feel like I'm starting again all the time. It's almost like it's new all the time. Okay. And I think that's why everything's always exciting, if that makes sense. I've never really been bored, unless I've like been doing it way too much, like every day, all day, then you can get burnout. Yeah. So I've only ever felt like that a few times, but it's a half of doing it for so long and keeping it new.
It's been nearly 10 years now, hasn't it, to be fair? So I think, and you've been like all over, you've presented in different places. So just talk us through how you went from delivering in classes, maybe was it leisure centres or centres or whatever, into actually starting to present and with Chico, Clubbercise, etc. How did all of that come about?
So so I started in gyms, and then I did some in the community as well. And I went, this is a new story. So I went to Blackpool. Do you know the International Fitness Showcase? Yeah. So I went there. I think I must have been around 17 when everything was kind of happening. And I had seen presenters on stage doing their thing, and people in front of them just smiling, laughing, sweating, and just forgetting all their worries and just having a good time. And I remember seeing these presenters like, wow, look, so they're connecting with so many people. They're helping people to just let go. And I was like, I want to do that. So I went round and I networked with pretty much every single presenter that was there. I would always hang around at the end of sessions, and I'd just go and speak to them. I'd go and kind of speak to everyone. I'd be like, right, Lish, I know you're nervous and you're shy, but it's time to make things happen now. It's time to switch off. It's time to become a character. Go around there and network. So I did, and I would do that. And then after the events, I would get I'd get the contact details at the event. And then after, there I was on the laptop. Hi, I met you today, blah, 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 blah. It would be good to keep in touch and get some advice and things like that. So I had a lot of presenters which they would be giving me advice as well. And each year now, I would keep going every year. So 2000 and... Okay, I can't remember. So I would have been 17, 18, 19. So I went for a few years. And it was really strange how this came about, because the creator of Clubbercise had seen my social media, and she emailed me saying, you know, I've got this brand, it's brand new, I'd like you to be involved in it. So I was networking with her, talking to her, and then before I knew it, she said, will you become one of the Club Size pros and do the filming and choreography for us? And I was like, yes. So all this visualization I had from so young, it was just there every day. And it's almost like when you have your visualization, you are doing things without even realizing that are working up to that. Working up to that moment.
I think one of the things there that just jumps out to me that I think was quite Martin's favorite word, but transferable into like the PT world and PTs. Obviously, you'll know that yourself. But that standing out and the fact that you went and networked and built those relationships, and then you went home and you built on top of that by sending out. It's very, very similar to what we sort of go through with relationship-based marketing and building rapport and relationships with people from a lead generation point of view. It's the same thing, isn't it, really?
100%.
So I think that's class. Go on.
Whatever goal it is that you have, whether it's Group X or PT or anything, it as long as you're persistent and you are networking and you are doing that, good things will happen. You know, they might take time, they might take forever, but you will eventually get there. You know, you just have to keep plodding on.
No, cool, good. So like delivering, you're now a presenter for Club Size. How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was just surreal. And here's one story where I did let nerves get the better of me. I think it was the second or third filming I was going to do for them. Every time I'd get really stressed, which, you know, we create ourselves. I'd get really stressed and really ill. I'd get chest infections left, right, and centre. I had the filming coming up, and I just remember getting so anxious, so worked up that, oh my gosh, things that I, you know, dreamt about when I was at school, they're happening. And I just let myself overthink. And I remember not going. Wow. I didn't go. And then after that, I was like, right, this can't happen again, because if I let that take control, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So I went back in and did it again, and I was fine. And then I'd go and join some of the master trainers so I could learn from them when they were delivering the courses to instructors. And I just had the best time. And then that led on to presenting at different places and masterclasses. And then it led me on to network with another brand, which took me down a crazy time, which was amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So was it BlockFit, those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk us through that then.
So I was currently presenting for Club Size at Leisure Industry Week. And
I think we were there at the same time, weren't we?
Yeah, I think we were. How mad is that?
But I know, yeah, it's crazy. Do you remember that? Oh, wow, when was it, mate? I think it was 2017, I think. The first one at Body Power. Do you remember, mate? Martin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that the first conference, I think it was, that Pure Gym ran there. Do you remember? I think it was that year. And Lish was there. Yeah, mad.
That's crazy.
We was all there. Mad.
Madness. Such a small world.
Yeah, it is.
The fitness industry is such a small world. Once you just scratch the surface and start to get into it a little bit, you just meet everybody. And because we're all so passionate, we're willing and keen to share with each other. Like I don't think I've come across anybody that's not open to listening and sharing and learning from each other, which is good. That's just off course with my little rant there, but
you're right. You're like, we have to learn from each other all the time. Like I'm always learning, and I think once you kind of accept that we're all learning all the time, then you kind of start taking stuff in, and you get on with other instructors and you get on with everyone around you, and it's just so powerful to accept that we all need to learn all the time.
I think that's quite an interesting one, isn't it, as well, because like we've all probably met people in the industry who try and compete with each other rather than just trying to like help and guide and support each other and bring each other along. And I think that's for me anyway, I find it interesting that actually when you start to help others and you go out of way and you don't necessarily see them as competition, you see them as, you know, worthy rivals or people that can elevate you and take you up to another level, or that you could learn from. It just opens up a whole load of new doors, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, massively.
I can imagine when you're presenting with other presenters, it's not who does the best whatever. I was going to name some move then, but one didn't come to my head. So it's not whoever does the best twerk, it's whoever does the best. Like, it's all of you working together, isn't it, to create that environment and that atmosphere. So
yeah, and I think with that, I've been quite lucky when it comes to you know, being around really, really genuine, kind, loving people, you know, because it's like when I was working for Pure, when you have such an amazing management and team, it
of course
works.
you're going to say that. Team Telford, of course you're going to say that. I haven't paid her, by the way, just for anyone listening. I haven't paid her. Honestly.
Well, I was there for a lot longer than I thought I was going to be, and that was down to you guys massively. So it just shows when you have those good people around you, how you grow then, you know. It doesn't take me long if I notice any bad energy, or I'm out of there, I'm gone, because it has such a massive effect on your energy. And before you know it, you're mixed up with the wrong people, your character's changing, and you're not happy because you're not being you. And the best thing
that's a good phrase, isn't it? Mood hoover.
And the best thing as a human being, that you are helping others, because it's what we're meant to do. And when we're not doing that, things don't work. Things around you don't work properly. And you're not truly happy. So that makes a huge difference. So when you're getting along with people and you're learning from people, and there's this certain energy that you have with other people, it's almost like there's a glow, you know,
like an aura. You begin to auras and stuff, chakras and stones and all of that sort of stuff. Fair play. No, I agree. I think you definitely can feel it, can't you? It is a bit strange. You can almost sense it, and I suppose that's when me and Martin were delving into emotional intelligence and emotional quotients and stuff like that sort of empathy and feeling what others are feeling. But then I suppose that tunes you into what others like, and it might not even be their fault. It might just be the stage that they're at in their life, I suppose. And that's maybe me getting a bit deep. But I think there's elements of that, and I think you're absolutely right. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are going to elevate you and move you forwards, then it's all positive, isn't it? So,
sorry, go on.
No, go on, mate.
I was just going to say, it's funny that you said that, because you never even if someone doesn't look like they've got the character of wanting to talk to you, or they keep themselves to themselves or whichever, you kind of realize a lot of those people are showing quite a hard face. They actually do want to talk. And I remember this experience really well. When I did the Miss England semi-finals, I remember feeling so out of place walking in, and I kept going back to this voice in my head saying, just become this character that you need to become right now to break the ice. And I remember there was a girl there sat on her own, and she looked like she just didn't want to speak to anyone, and she looked very unapproachable. It's almost like I thought, she's there for the competition and she just wants to focus on what she's doing right now. And I was like, go and talk to her. And I was so nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if she was going to be nice or just anything. And I was like, okay, so I walked over there, and I was like, hi, oh gosh, I'm so nervous. So, she put her hand on my shoulder, and she was like, I'm so glad that you've just spoken to me. She goes, I feel so sick. I feel so nervous. And I went, it's like everything about her just changed because she wasn't what I thought at all. And I walked away from that and I was like, wow, do not have an opinion on whether that person is going to be a nice person or not, just because of how her body language is at that time. So yeah,
It's like
that was interesting.
you project a little bit, don't you? I think you sort of go into your own mind and think, right, that's probably how I look when I don't want to fucking speak to anyone. Sorry, Lish. But that's how I look, or that's how my body language is when I don't want to speak to people, and you project that. So because that's how I am when I'm in that situation, maybe they're the same. But actually, like you say, that couldn't have been further from the truth, or it was maybe a little bit of a defense for her to look like that because she was that nervous and anxious and scared. So you mentioned that your semi-final there. Just talk us through the whole experience, how you got into that side of things, because that's I suppose a different side to you that not many people would know, would they?
Completely different, but it all stemmed from fitness, because I wouldn't have become the person that I am without going through that journey. Because fitness, well, you guys know, fitness, it changes your life. It has so many benefits. And I was very much the person that I always said to myself, attack your fears, attack them. And which came from doing a skydive, actually, because of the feeling I had doing a skydive terrified the heck out of me. And I always go back to that feeling whenever I do anything really nerve-wracking, because my body like gained strength in the very last moments that sounds like I'm just about to die. But I remember feeling so weak at that point, and the very last minute, it's like my brain just told myself I've got this, but I had to put myself in that situation first, and then I jumped out of the plane. So every time I get nervous, I always picture that, and I go through those feelings. So with the modelling and the catwalking and stuff, I thought about those things at school, but I never really thought, I can be that person that can do that, because I had acne, I was up and down with my weight, and I just thought, And then when it got to the point where I started to feel confident because of fitness, I applied for Miss Shropshire, and I didn't expect to hear anything back at all, like nothing. And it came back that I was going to be doing the actual finals of Miss Shropshire. And I went in and became first runner-up for it. And then that took me to the Miss England semi-finals. But that again changed my whole views on pageants, because they were nothing like I thought they were. When I first applied for it, my family were like, do you really want to be doing that? Do you want to go in that industry and, mix with these people? And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to try it, It's all part of the journey. Like, even with setbacks and I don't say failures, I will stick with setbacks. It's all a part of the journey, and I've had so many of them, but I've never let them stop me, because your passion will always drive you through. So that's how the whole pageant thing came along. And when I realized how much I enjoyed doing it and being around inspiring people, because the girls are amazing, they all want to do something, they all want to make a difference. It's nothing like how it was years and years ago. It's completely changed, and I just felt really empowered being around people. We were all competing for the title, but everybody was really supportive of each other, which I found really, really amazing and strange at the same time.
You'd think they'd be like, snipping chunks out of each other's hair and like messing with, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
this is what my mum said.
I've watched Miss Congeniality, and they all each other.
Yeah, and honestly, it's totally different. So when I went into that, I was like, wow, I did have a view on them for quite a while, but until I did it, it's like my brain just exploded, because I was like, it's nothing what I thought it was. And I had the best time, and then that led me down so many other things, because I grew confidence in that. Even though I'm still, if I go and compete, I'm still anxious and nervous like every other human being on the planet. It's really weird, but in a good way.
I suppose you start to get comfortable with accepting those feelings, don't you? And you're able to recognize them and like not create coping mechanisms, but understand that they're there for a reason, and that it's quite natural and normal to feel those feelings. Because I think, just me thinking back to when I first came into the industry, I thought I was the only one that felt nervous, because you look around at other people and they don't necessarily look that way, or they don't come across like they're nervous or scared or anxious or whatever. So I think that's a good point for anyone, really. Is it's all right to actually feel like that. It's normal to feel like that. So no, cool.
100%.
So then that moved you into other avenues as well. Where did that take you to, mate? Like acting, etc.
So I kept applying for modeling and casting agencies. Wasn't getting the work or anything like that. Kept applying. Like we were saying, persistency is key. Like you should never, if you want something, you make it happen, full stop, no matter how long it takes. So any setbacks I got, I just was like, okay, then just keep going. And then eventually I got signed with a model and casting agency. They had jobs coming through. I'd constantly be applying for them, not getting them. And then some came up, and it was a Netflix series. And I had the best time. I had to be on set for like, I think it was 5 a.m.
So you didn't sleep then, basically? You just stayed up?
Yeah.
Finish watching the films at 3 and then straight on.
Straight on. Straight to it. And I remember feeling nervous and sick, and I remember my friend coming with me really early and dropping me off. And I got there, and there was just so many people, so many vans, so many filming things, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I think I worked on that for like 3 weeks, and that was just interesting. The pay was shocking, awful. You're there early and you're finishing at, I think it was like 6 p.m, sometimes 7, but they never give you a time, and you're waiting constantly, and you could only be in like a 2 or 3 second clip, which takes like 4 hours to film.
Mad.
So
this is your opportunity now to plug it for everyone. What show was it?
It was Free Reign,
okay.
One of the kiddies series.
Cool.
And I was the horse marshal in that, so you kind of see me in the crowd, and I got my pink scarf on and walking past and pretending and miming. And then there was one, I can't remember the name of it. I want to say Clink. That was like a 1 second clip. That was like 1 second. That was interesting because Michelle Keegan was in that, and she was right in front of me at one of the scenes. And I thought, oh, I'm actually going to be in one of the scenes. It might only be like half a second, but I might be in it. And then I don't think I was that scene, even though the camera and everything was going around. But that again was so interesting. Like I just wanted to keep learning, because I always thought, when I saw Mr. Motivator doing his thing, I was like, I want to do that so much. So I need to branch out with doing my love, which is teaching, and branching out into that kind of industry. So I didn't just limit myself to one thing. I did a bunch of things in the hope of bringing those two things together. So I was learning about the filming and all that type of stuff, and networking on those as well. So that's why I went down those areas.
So like you say, they're just learning about filming and techniques and stuff and how that all works. Do you think that's bringing it back full circle into where you're at now with your online delivery, your online presenting, and absolutely smashing the online class scene that everyone seems to be starting to jump on now? Do you think that's helped? Have you took stuff from that at all, or?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like everything that I've done, there's always been a point to it, and everybody around me could never understand. They were like, why are you doing that thing and then that thing and then that thing? And I'm like, no, I have a plan. I'm going to bring these two things together. Like fitness is at the core for me, and that will never change. But having these little things are giving me so many different strengths to make this bit glow.
Yeah. No, cool. Okay. So it's probably worth us touching on to how you found moving into shifting online and delivering online? Because I think there'll be quite a few, especially the situations we've been in this year, that will take a bit from that. So just talk us through that, mate. How did you find it? How did you get there? How's it all going? What would you advise people if they were looking to do similar?
So I've had the best time teaching online, and I think with the current situation, it's just been an amazing thing, not only for my clients but myself as well. Shifting online I found really difficult. I was pulling my hair out for weeks on end with technology, space, because we've all kind of been shoved into do it online, and then finding space at home and learning all new different things. But I can honestly say, transferring online and going through all that, it was all worth it. So if there's anyone on here that's listening and thought about giving up with the online because either people aren't coming on or technology isn't great, sound, video, just don't give up. I moved my room around like 1 billion times, didn't have a clue what I was doing with technology. And I just remember sitting there crying most of it, big wimp that I am. But if anyone's on here, they'll be able to relate to that. If anyone is on here that has been through that, they will totally relate to those feelings. But again, perseverance. I'm absolutely loving it now. I've got my setup where I don't need to touch anything. It's all ready, it's set up. Whereas before, I was moving things left, right, and centre, losing the connection, the plugins, all that. And it's been amazing. So I've built a nice little business online, and it's starting to flow now. It's taken, the majority of lockdown to get used to it and actually start to see people coming on now. So yeah, it's good.
How different is it from teaching a class on the gym floor?
Well, one is on a weekend, I can just roll out of bed and switch my laptop on. But it is very different, obviously, because you haven't got that, you haven't got the atmosphere in the room.
Yeah.
But again, visualization, like imagination, sorry. I always, when I turn the computer on, I'm like, oh, everyone's in the room. So I kind of had to adapt massively, because I was so used to being with people, and then to go from that to just being in my room, switching the laptop on and seeing people on the screen. Some people don't even come on the camera either. But I know that they're there, which is really nice. So it's completely different, but also enjoyable. You have no choice but to adapt. And Mr. Motivator gave me some advice in lockdown, because I was saying, I'm finding it really difficult to move forward. And he was like, look, Lish, you need to adapt. It's the only thing that you can do right now is just adapt, and learn different skills now that you wouldn't have really learned when you were teaching a class, because it can be completely different. And I was like, he put it so simply, and I'd gone from stressing left, right, and centre to being like, oh, okay, just adapt.
He's the king of that anyway. He's the originator, and more importantly, really, if you think about it, in terms of online, he's been doing it for years, because he's been in front of a camera, doing it to a lens, and acting like there's 30, 50 people in the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you're going to get any advice,
I know.
He's probably the best. Well, he is the best person to get that advice from. And I think that for the members' perspective or the participants' perspective, I think that hearing you say that, because like you said, some of them will just keep the camera off, but it's them gaining the confidence to switch the camera on and not be afraid to have people see them exercising in the front room. Like,
100%.
And as that started to happen, like as these classes have been going on, are you starting to notice like people are starting to switch on more and get used to it? Because that's what we're all doing. We're trying to get used to it, aren't we?
100%. And there's been times that those people, because I'll say, come really close to the camera, shimmy, blah, blah. And there's been times that those people that didn't have their cameras on in the beginning have got them on, and they're coming right up to the camera. And, you know, I know some of them, they're not working because of lockdown and they're at home. And like me, they're waiting for the class, like, ooh, there's class tonight. So it's amazing to see them growing on, you know, on the screen, whereas in a class, the person that would usually be at the back, you get to see them slowly come to the front, and they're growing in classes. So it's the same but different. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting me with the, because they're in their own environment. I think you're going to get more from them when it gets to the point where they start to really open up. They turn that camera on. You're going to see more. And then, like, just off my experience, then you can have quizzes, you can start to do stuff like that with them. There's lots of stuff that you can start to incorporate, because when you're in the confines of your own space, you're at your most comfortable. And we all know, in a studio, in a class, you put yourself at the back in the corner because you don't want nobody to see it. And that might last for 2 years. You might put them in class for 2 years, but you might always be in that corner.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's helped not just us as coaches, but it's helped the general public. It's given them some routine when they're struggling and they've got nowhere to go, especially people that live in apartments and they live by themselves. Like, guys like yourself are giving them some routine or a reason to get out of bed. There's so many people that wake up during lockdown. They'll wake up at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon because they've got nothing to do. They'll get a bowl of cornflakes, they'll go back to bed, and that'll be the cycle. And they'll do that for weeks, and then they'll get very depressed. And the fact that we've got people like yourself now that are giving them something to attend that creates a routine within their life of what we've had to deal with now is helping massively. And I think the reason why that's happening is because the character that you've built, the character that you are, is getting them to bring their character out. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's so powerful. And like yourselves, we're all in such an amazing position to help people. And I'm sure you have been through something in your life where fitness has helped you get through it. And it's the same for me. And it's just letting those people that come to your classes know that, and to say, hey, you know, come and join me online. I know what it can do for you. It's just an amazing position to be in, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So yeah, like some real good stuff from you there, Lish. So I appreciate that. We do always wrap up the what are they called now? The episodes. We do always wrap up the episodes with a few fun questions. So nutrition tends to be a part of that. So we'll go over to Mr. Love with the first one.
The dinner guest one. I may always ask you which one's first. I've been doing it for about a year. So the first one is you're hosting a dinner party, and you can have 3 guests, living or deceased. Which 3 are you having and why?
Say that again. So
you're having a dinner party. You can have 3 guests, living or dead, to attend the party.
Okay.
Which 3 are you having and why have you chosen them?
Oh. Just anybody.
Yeah.
It's whoever you want, yeah.
Wow, what a question. You could ask anybody this and they'd probably answer it straight away. And I'm here like,
Do you know what's mad is we do these 3 questions all the time and people prepare for them, and then when we ask them, they still struggle.
Yeah, it's quite. I think because there's a lot of choice out there as well.
Surely Derek's got to get a shout in there now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the massive influences, the people that have helped massively on my journey are Mr. Motivator and Chico. But now, like, I feel bad. I feel like I should pick my mom, my dad.
It's mad because nobody ever picks a relative. Nobody ever picks a relative. You see them all the time. You don't need to pick them for this dinner party.
Yeah, that's true. But straight away I was like, So definitely those 2 for sure. Oh my gosh. You're gonna wish you never asked me now. This might take 10 hours. Because I know I'm gonna come off this call like, oh my gosh, why didn't I say that? I would have them, and then I would have a close friend.
Cool.
Okay, cool. And then, so you've got your guests, you've got to obviously feed them, right? So you've got 3 courses, starter, main, and dessert. What foods are you selecting, and why? You don't have to cook them. You can get someone else to cook them. Or if you're an amazing chef, then feel free.
Can I get a takeaway?
Of course you can.
So chicken wings for starters, ham and pineapple pizza, and
should pineapple be on a pizza?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna
Always.
go off. Oh mate, come on now.
Yeah, it should. It's decent.
Always.
Right, we'll end the episode there. See you in a bit.
And a cookie? No, I'm joking. Apple crumble?
Apple crumble, shout. Custard or cream?
Always custard.
Gotta be custard with the crumble in it for me. I agree with you there. You can keep your pineapple, but I'll have some crumble. That's
Mate, do you know what? When I went to Italy, I asked for pineapple on a pizza, and the guy told us to get out.
No way. It's the best one. It's the best one.
Their standard, the biggest pizza they do over there is margherita. And I remember being sat there, and me and my daughter both wanted pineapple on our pizza. So I asked for it, and the man went like, "We don't do that. Get out." just
leave.
We have to go to the restaurant next door. Yeah.
Actually,
that's just proves it. That proves it, mate. I'm getting passionate about this now.
This mad Italian man that owned the restaurant for 50 years.
Proper bloke, mate. He knows what he's on about. Him. He knows what he's on about, mate. I bet he's got a moustache like this one as well, isn't he?
He looked just like you. It was probably you.
It was probably was him.
It was me. Walking around looking like Luigi over in Italy, mate.
Oh,
what was you going to change?
Banana custard and sprinkled biscuits. That is the pudding.
Right.
Okay. And then, it's album, isn't it, mate? So you've served your food, you've got your guests, but Martin's favourite question, this one, to be fair. If you were stranded on a desert island, what album would you take with you and why?
Bon Jovi album.
Bon Jovi? Which one?
I can't remember.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, greatest hits. Yeah, it's a good one.
Why not? Why Bon Jovi?
He just does he does a mixture of different music, which just like every music. I don't know why I'm saying that. Every music targets some emotion, that relates to some part of your life that can get you through something. But I've always loved Bon Jovi's music. That's the only answer I can give you, really.
And then lastly, so you've got to sing your favourite song off that album. Off you go. No, I'm joking. I'm only joking.
I was starting to get sweaty top lip then.
No, that's brilliant. So yeah, thanks for jumping. Really great to have you on, Lish. It's been good. Great to hear your journey. Lots to take away for people that are listening as well, especially from a class point of view, or people that are trying to move forwards if they're feeling certain emotions when they're first coming into the industry. So that's great. For all of the listeners, if you click onto the subscribe button, that will ping you out each episode that we have. But as ever, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you all next time. Please do donate. I haven't got this tash for no reason. It is for Movember. So click on the links, get your donations in, and it'll be massively appreciated. See you all soon.